And hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Irv Homer Show. It is Monday, November the 3rd, 2008. It is 6 p.m. Daylight Standard Time here on the East Coast. And we welcome you to the Irv Homer Show that is growing by leaps and bounds, may I say. And we're broadcasting from irvhomer.com. That's irvhomer.com is where we're broadcasting from in the isolated part of Bucks County. My website is www.irvhomer.com, and you can email me right now during the program if you wish to evilerv@irvhomer.com. That's evilerv@irvhomer.com. And of course, all of this technology is brought to you courtesy of RGH Computer Services, specializing in securing and security with your computer. And we just had a situation where Sarah Palin had a little fun thing by somebody getting into her telephone. So if you think you may have a security problem with your computer services, why not give them a call? RGH Computer Services at 215-322-8685. 215-322-8685. Once again, this program is dedicated to basically the truth as we see it. If you find out that it is not the truth, then please feel free to give us a call on our new telephone number. That's right, we do take your telephone calls. In addition to having a chat room, you can get on the chat room, or you can email us. So there are three ways to communicate with Irv Homer during the Irv Homer Show from 6 to 7 here on the East Coast. Once again, the telephone number is 215-253-8877. That's area code 215-253-8877. 8877, and your questions are certainly welcome. If I can answer them, I will. If I will tell you it is what I know, I will let you know. If it's an opinion, I will let you know. So you can get on the chat room, or you can go to the telephone at 215-253-8877. I have a few comments to make. Of course, tomorrow is the big day that we've all been waiting for and anticipating. And we will not have those nasty telephone calls coming in on landlines, people ringing your doorbell and giving you all kind of political literature. Even today, the day before the election, and I don't know about some of you folks, but I'm getting a little tired. Let me bring you up to a point that I've discovered and see whether you agree with it or not. I think it's a fact. The polling that is done by most of the polling services are done by telephone. And that means you have to have a landline for that telephone call to be received. Now, I have never been polled or heard of anyone who has ever been polled on their cell phone. The growth of the cell phone today in America is rapidly, I would say, they claim, I think, about 8% a month of people who are dropping their landline and strictly using the cell phones as the means of telephone communication. I know I've dropped my landline phone in my home. I have no use for it. You get attached to that cell phone, you carry it with you in your car, in your pocket, take it to bed with you at night. So there is no reason to have a landline phone for many, many folks in the country today. And so they have to do a study to find out who are the people with the landline phones and whether or not that is really a true cross-section of the American voter. And many people get the message and maybe on their answer machine they just blow it out. Now some of the what do they call them, thunder dialers on the telemarketers will recognize if it's a computer and it will cut the message off. It needs a live voice to leave the message. So the polling years ago, before the advent of the cell phone and of the websites and of the emails, probably was a lot more accurate than what the polls are reflecting today. And I think that's one of the reasons that although there is an overwhelming support right now for Barack Obama, where in some areas there's a foregone conclusion that he will be the next president of the United States, the John McCain, Sarah Palin group is very enthused about the fact that he does have a chance. Of course, you should take a look at the red and the blue states, count the electoral votes, the 270 that Obama needs. He is not far away from it. But then again, elections like horse races. You never know until that horse crosses the finish line. Who I'm supporting once again, who I'm voting for, is no one's business. It is my business. Who you vote for is your business. But I can tell you this, that the pundits on syndicated talk radio across the country are certainly beating the drum, not for John McCain as much as they are against Barack Obama. And I would like to hear them more supporting John McCain, if that's their candidate, and it is, across the syndicated broadcast media for talk radio, than knocking Barack Obama. What's John McCain going to do other than the fact that Barack Obama is a Muslim and all the other charges have been made against him? So we're in a very, very delicate area as far as I'm concerned as to whether or not the polls are accurate. I doubt if they are. So in my opinion, this is an open election tomorrow. And don't be surprised, ladies and gentlemen, if John McCain wins. But let me give you a technique. Let me give you a technique that two of the most vicious anti-Obama syndicated broadcasters used today. Heard it this morning on Mike Gallagher's program. Mike Gallagher has no ratings. 990 AM in Philadelphia has no ratings whatsoever. But they pretend that they've got ratings. Well, tell you the truth, in Philadelphia, Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, and Sean Hannity don't have big ratings. They don't. You may think they do. They think they do, but they don't. They took an excerpt of a speech that Barack Obama made when he was questioned about alternative energy. Now, I hope some of you folks are sophisticated enough to listen and follow the reasoning of what I'm going to say. And when Barack Obama was interviewed and asked about the tremendous amount of coal that we have in the United States, and that we could take that coal and make it energy producing, thereby giving us a lot of energy independence. And Barack Obama's answer was this, and I will paraphrase it. I would support any coal to gas conversion in America. However, we have certain standards for emissions from these coal plants. If they want to build these coal production plants in America, they will have to abide by the emission standards that are set up in place already. That is, the green gas effect and the pollution effect. If not, it won't pay them to do it because the government will bankrupt them with lawsuits for polluting the air. Now, does anyone here not understand what I just said? Barack Obama said, you can build as many plants as you want to. However, I know we're in an energy crisis, but we must consider the green gas effect, and we must consider the emissions. That is, those scrubbers that go into the coal-fired plants. Otherwise, the fines would probably bankrupt a company that ignored them. Gallagher plays that on his program this morning. Then has the unmitigated lying gall. Mike Gallagher, you're a liar. You are a deceiving scumbag in the broadcast industry. Gallagher, and then Limbaugh later this afternoon repeats the same lie. Said that this is the typical Obama Democrat rule. They're out to break small business people with fines and penalties. That's socialism. It just shows the indication of the Democrats and the liberals of how they're out to bankrupt small business, how they're bankrupting businesses for innovative ideas, how to prevent us from having alternative energy sources. Do you want somebody who will bankrupt your business? This is the lying clown who people respect and say, oh, you're a breath of fresh air, Mike. Rush, you're a breath of fresh air. This is the lying, deceptive technique that these scum are using in an industry that used to be respected called talk radio. Barack Obama never said that he will bankrupt any business. He never said that he was out to destroy any business. What he said was, you can build your plants, you can do anything you want to as long as you meet with the government guidelines. Otherwise, you'll probably be fined, and you'll be fined into bankruptcy. I would suggest that the audience that listens to the Irv Homer show over the years is fairly intelligent. You understand what I said. For example, let's say that Irv Homer says to Barack Obama, I want to build an automobile. I have a great design for an automobile. And he says, go ahead, build it. No problem. However, you'll put seat belts in it because that's the law. You'll put airbags in it because that's the law. You'll have a catalytic converter on the exhaust system because that's the law. Now, you build that automobile and you try to put it on the market, I guarantee you the government will fine you out of existence and probably bankrupt you. Now, does that make sense, folks? But these creeps that are on syndicated radio are so desperate that their very reputations are at stake right now. Their reputations are at stake right now. That if Barack Obama wins, they are going to have so much egg on their scum collective faces that how anyone can listen with any sense of honesty or integrity to the Mike Gallaghers and Rush Limbaughs and Sean Hannity's, Glenn Beck's, and others of their ilk. If McCain loses, I don't know. As I said on the last program, if I were John McCain in the Republican Party, I would tell them scum to shut up. I will run my campaign. I don't want you to be my voice 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that's why McCain can lose. Not because of John McCain or Sarah Palin, but because of deceptive creeps that think they're doing John McCain a favor and the Republican Party a favor because they hate the Democrats and they hate the liberals so much. And once again, you don't know who I'm going to vote for. And once again, it's none of your business. Let's go to our chat room. We have some calls on the chat room. Once again, a telephone number, if you want to call by phone and be heard on the Irv Homer Show, is 215-253-8877, 215-253-8877. Wes from Wilmington asks, Irv, who is the lesser of these two evils, McCain or Obama? The lesser of these two evils will give you an indication, Wes, as to who I will vote for. In my opinion, there isn't a dime's worth of difference between the two of them. Because neither one of them is going to have the power to eliminate earmarks, to eliminate lobbying, and to eliminate buying an election. So it isn't going to make a whole lot of difference other than the image of America as to who gets elected. There is no lesser of two evils. It's one party with a left wing and a right wing. But basically, the plan is already set. The people who control the power in this country care not who its elected leaders are. What they care about is how many congressmen and senators they can buy through lobbying to get special legislation, earmarks, and the so-called loopholes in the law. So in my opinion, you can vote for either one of them. Presidents are transients, ladies and gentlemen. They're transients for the maximum of 8 years, some only 4 years. Presidents come and go. You take an audit inspector. How long has he been a senator, and how many presidents has he been a senator while the presidents come and go? Barney Frank, presidents come and go, Barney's still there. Strom Thurmond before he died, 35 years, 40 years in the Congress. Presidents are transients, folks. They're the images for we people to think that they set the criteria. The cowardly Congress and Senate of the United States that has given these so-called powerful people called the president the right to get this country involved in a war. You never voted for that thing, did you? But you know what you're going to vote for this election? You're going to vote for a school board referendum to spend $2-3 million to build a new school. We on the lower level in our society today, where it's supposed to be the government of the people, by the people, and for the people, is a myth. We vote for the little stuff, the little justice of the peace, the little supervisor, the school board. We don't vote the power to go to war. We don't vote for our health care. We don't vote for any of the things that affect us directly. So we the people have lost the power other than the lower echelon. The big boys dictate. And the cowardly Congress that has given away its power to represent us, they've given it to the United States Supreme Court to make the laws, and they've given it to the president. Well, that's not a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. I don't want any one man a president to get my kids involved in a war while I'm feeling real good because I'm going to vote for a new school bond issue, or I'm going to vote for a casino location. Man, that's true democracy. Can I vote for a national health care program underwritten by private insurance companies? No. I can't vote for that. Can't vote to help my neighbor. They give me the power to vote to make sure that my neighbor's grass is 6 inches, no longer 6 inches high. You've lost your power because the people who represent us are slaves of the lobbyists, the committees that raise money for them, and the fact that they want to run again, over and over again. So when you say the lesser two, McCain and Obama won't be on the scene for 8 years. George Bush, 8 years. He's a transient. George, go by. You're out. But Specter will be there. Charlie Rangel will be there. All the old boys except the ones that got thrown out, like Newt Gingrich and Trent Lott, and some of the other ones got thrown out. But take a look at the length of time that these congressmen and senators serve in Washington compared to the time a president serves. The president has a term limit of 2 terms. He's out. He's a transient. So, my dear friend Wes from Wilmington, there is no difference between the two guys. Great image, be great speeches. Sarah Palin will make her speeches and be the soccer mom. John McCain will talk about his time in the military and as a prisoner. Barack Obama will give eloquent speeches, and Joe Biden, who's been in Washington longer than the Washington Monument, will be giving speeches. Let's go to Nikki in Westchester. Hi, Irv. Most of my libertarian-type friends don't respond to polls, and I also usually hang up. Should study who doesn't answer polls as well as cell versus landline? I think so. Well, when you don't respond to a poll, when you hang up on them, you don't know whether that's voted for in the poll itself. But they've made the contact. So let's say there are 30,000 calls made and 20,000 were received. Even though 10,000 of those 20,000 were hung up, they consider that to be a vote. I don't know how the poll. See, I don't trust the polls. First of all, it's the way the question is asked. And second of all, it is the demeanor how it was answered. And third of all, was it a tape? Bill Clinton spoke to a landline last night of a friend of mine's home. Bill Clinton, the tape. Now, this young lady dislikes answering telephones for telemarketers, but she liked Bill Clinton, so she listened to the whole message. Now, I think a study should be conducted, Nikki, as to whether it's a cell versus a landline. But to the best of my knowledge, cell phones don't get telemarketers because of the diversity of the area codes and stuff like that. But the polls are answered by landline. And so the question is, who has the landlines that are being answered? Our chat room is open. Our telephone number, once again, ladies and gentlemen, is 215-253-8877, 215-253-8877. And those lines are open. Now, one of the most controversial programs that I've had on the air was the guest appearance of Philip J. Berg, an attorney, who, among others around the country, had filed a lawsuit against and questioning the birth of Barack Obama, claiming that he was born in Kenya. First, let me say that the news tonight is that Barack Obama's grandmother died in Hawaii, I believe, and so whether you vote for Barack Obama or not is immaterial. We do offer our condolences to Barack Obama. The information that I received from factcheck.org, a nonpartisan, nonprofit consumer advocate for voters that aim to reduce the level of deception and confusion in U.S. politics, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. I read it very carefully, and over the years, in reading this, it still doesn't answer the question. The fact that the Secretary of State of Hawaii says that they have seen his birth certificate does not satisfy me or satisfy Philip J. Berg or others who are questioning the natural birth of Barack Obama. It doesn't answer it. And with all of the prestigious names that are in this Annenberg political fact check, you would think that they would put a copy in this email that they sent, that I received. Here is a copy of his birth certificate. See, I've learned over the years, ladies and gentlemen, I don't trust anybody. Put it in writing and give me proof that that's fact, and then I will accept it after researching it myself. Now, one of the things that I find absolutely mind-boggling is, and this is from a gentleman that will remain anonymous, and I appreciate his email. Irv, I've listened to you for over 20 years on WWDB, and I've accessed your website from the very beginning, but you have disappointed recently by putting this obvious Obama hater on your program with a ridiculous story. I have always respected your perspective on things, but you do not do your research on this story. Please read the following and the other email I've sent you regarding the truth about Obama's birth about factcheck.org. Well, I've read all of that. And Malcolm, my dear listener, Philip J. Berg is not an Obama hater. Now, apparently, somewhere along the line, you may have turned in the program and didn't hear the entire program. A few things. Number one, Philip J. Berg is an attorney, formerly an assistant attorney general of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. 3, a lifelong Democrat, and has been a committeeman for many, many, many years, and is also a strict constitutionalist. I have put many people on the air, Matthew. I don't think that Philip J. Berg is an Obama hater or a Democrat hater. But as an attorney, he read the Constitution and did research and feels that Barack Obama was born in Kenya, that somewhere along the line, because of his multinational and his international thing, that he was not an natural born American citizen. But make back to me and my credibility as by putting people on the air. I have put the Move people on the air from Philadelphia for many, 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 many years and many, many times. I can pick up the telephone now and call the Move people and have 10 of them around my house right now to protect me against anybody who thinks they're going to get tough with me. Do I support the Move people? None of your business. I interviewed them. I've had them in my home. Does that make me a Move supporter? Am I a Move supporter because I find it objectionable that the mayor of Philadelphia, along with the police commissioner, bombed and burnt out 61 homes in the city of Philadelphia and burnt 11 people to death? Does that make me a Move supporter? I've had the American Nazi Party on the air. Does that make me a Nazi? I've had gay and lesbians on the air. Does that make me a gay or lesbian who hates heterosexualism? Unless you people, my dear listener Malcolm, educate yourself as far as the medium is concerned, and don't take sound bites out of a program that was an hour long, I think you'll educate yourself a little bit. The authenticity of the printed word is something I always found interesting. The printed word, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't make it any more authentic than a speech, because all the printed word is speech, lie, and writing. Now, instead of all this fact check and schmake check and all these things and pages of this and lawsuits being filed all over the country, and Philip Berg isn't the only case that was filed and dismissed without merit, whatever that means, it would be very simple for the Obama people or the Secretary of State of the state of Ohio, or rather the state of Ohio, to just merely show the birth certificate. Not the COLB, Matthew. The COLB is merely a certificate of live birth, meaning that in the hospital that day, a baby was born. After a COLB is made legal, a birth certificate is then issued as to who the father and mother is, time and date and location of birth. Now, I saw in front of me, and if you go to obamacrime.org, I believe that's .com, obamacrime.com.
Crimes.
Obama Crimes, I'll get it right, obamacrimes.com. You will see testimony there, I believe, Philip said, that if you have a COLB, you cannot get a passport without a certificate of live birth. You need a birth certificate. Now, I think what we'll do, Ron, I think we'll contact Christine Flowers. You know,
okay.
Christine,
I know.
Because Christine is an immigration attorney, and she would know the difference between a COLB
Yes.
and a birth certificate. So please don't accuse any guest that I have of being a hater. If anyone is on this program that I've had, they will identify that they're a hater. I've had Jew haters on the air who admitted they were Jew haters. I've had Catholic haters on the air who admitted they were Catholic haters. I've had people on the air say they're black haters. They don't mask their hatred or their dislike when they come on the air with me. So you don't have to look. You don't have to look behind the scenes because you said here, obvious Obama hater. It may have been obvious to you, wasn't obvious to me. To our chat room. Once again, our telephone number is 215-253-8877. This is the Irv Homer Show, dedicated to getting the fuzzballs out of your head, clear thinking, respecting the Constitution and the United States, one of the greatest countries in the world, not because of the politicians, but because of the American people who are going to give away their country. And you're doing it rapidly because of your fuzzball thinking and your one issue thinking. I'm against abortion. I'm against this. I'm against that. That's the only thing. That's all they know. That's all. Right to life. That's all. Right to life. Right to life. That's it. It's good enough for me. Guy could be a thief. Could be a robber. Anything. Let me go to the chat room. Pete in Denver says, Irv, do you see any chance of Obama increasing transparency in government? The answer is, Pete, no. And why I say that Obama, if he is elected, will not increase transparency in this government any more than George Bush has been guilty of covering it up. Politicians cover the ass of other politicians. If in fact Obama increases transparency in the government, if he is elected, or if John McCain does, people are going to want to know what happened in the last administration. And very few presidents, with the exception of Bill Clinton, have ever criticized their successor. Clinton is a rarity. And of course now Jimmy Carter is jumping on the bandwagon. But Clinton is a rarity. Presidents rarely criticize their successors. Clinton does it. But never revealed anything that he knew or knows about the inner workings of the CIA, the FBI, NASA, National Security Agency, or any of the other alphabet soups. So no, I don't think, Pete, that he's going to increase the transparency. Yeah.
Well, wouldn't the president have to sign a confidentiality agreement that when you leave office they can't reveal any of these secrets?
No, you sign that when you're elected.
When you're elected, okay.
And you sign it when you are vetted. I signed it in 1972. But the problem is revealing strategic or non-strategic information. It's a vague obligation that you assume, which becomes after the fact. Because if you did release that information, they can say, well, that was prejudicial, or that was strategic, or that was an invasion of privacy. So it's a very vague statement, but they all do it, and I did it too. Good question, Ron.
Nice.
Irv, how can Joe Biden run for both Vice President and United States Senator? Dave from Delaware City. Dave, that's an interesting question. He can. And the funny point is that if he wins the vice presidency, he has to give up his senatorial seat in Delaware. Now, the governor then would appoint a senator to replace Joe Biden. However, the governor of Delaware is also running for election. So she may not be able to appoint a senator to replace Biden. So the state of Delaware with this particular question, Dave from Delaware City, is an interesting question. He can run for both Vice President and United States Senator. If he loses the VP, he remains a senator. If he wins the VP, he has to be replaced by the governor. Well, if Governor Miller loses the election, the next governor will appoint the new senator. So it's an interesting question. And Dave, I'm watching that very carefully. Incidentally, I like Delaware City. From our chat room, how bad can the recession be in your opinion? My daughter is now gaining your wisdom via your show, as I have for many years. Thank you, Chris. The difference between a recession, Chris, and a depression is, if I lose my job, it's a depression. If you lose yours, it's a recession. You must remember that during the Great Depression of 29 to 32, only 25% of the people in America were affected. What is important now for your daughter is to not make the mistakes of I want everything I want now, or depending on government, or depending on somebody else to be able to gain knowledge and to be able to gain independence, but depend on yourself. We're going to go back to the dependency upon yourself and your own wisdom. And most people know, when they're doing the right thing and when they're doing the wrong thing. Now, when you take a chance on something, I don't want your daughter to live in a cocoon or live insulated, but you take a certain amount of risk. But you evaluate that risk before you take it. There's an old tradition that says, and this has always worked for me. The guy says, if I get in an accident and I'm speeding, I could hit a tree. I hit a tree, I could either live or die. Well, if I die, I got nothing to worry about. But if I live, will I be hurt? If I'm hurt, I got two choices. Will I be a cripple or will I recover? And so you go through life that way at this particular point. You keep the risk factor of your life, finances, romance, involvement, attitudes, opinions, and you weigh each one very carefully. And don't worry about the world, because your daughter's not going to be able to save the world, and neither am I. So if you save yourself first and set a list of priorities for yourself, I must pay my rent, I must make sure I have an income, I must take care of my health, I must eat properly, I must give up smoking, I must do the things that benefit me. That collectively in a society and a community will grow. So as a recession, you can make yourself recession proof. You can make yourself depression proof. And my attitude has been, when I saw Bush get involved in Iraq, I said, Irving, it's time to pull back, evaluate the future, because this guy is going to bankrupt us. It isn't going to be a slam dunk. It's not going to be a mission accomplished. If anyone thought that we were going to get out of this war, involving a war that Alexander the Great couldn't win, the Russians were in Afghanistan and lost 16,000 people and couldn't win, and left with their tail between their legs, and we will leave Afghanistan with our tail between our legs, take my word for it, as we did in Vietnam and as we had a stalemate in Korea. So all you have to do is look at the past errors that we've made. I want to rephrase that. You and I didn't make that, because we didn't vote on Korea, we didn't vote on Vietnam, we didn't vote on Iraq, we didn't vote for a damn thing. Kennedy, Cardinal Spellman got us into Vietnam. Oh yeah. The reason we make these same mistakes over and over again, Chris, is because people don't learn from history. The history of Vietnam has been a lie. The history of Korea has been a lie. The history of Iraq has been a lie. We didn't vote for any of them, did we? When are we going to start voting for the things that affect us? Make your daughter recession-proof, but also get the fuzzballs out of your head. Get rid of some of this conservative, orthodox religious teachings. It's fine to be religious, but it's greater to be spiritual. Religion is this, and spirituality encompasses your entire life. Get rid of political dogma. Get rid of buzzwords, socialism, capitalism, communism. Get rid of that crap. That's all nonsense. They're meaningless expressions. What is true, loss of freedom, loss of education, brainwashing, that's true. Forget the isms, forget that crap. Don't mean anything. Let's go to Bill in Northeast Philly. Bill says, if Berg is right about Obama, how do you get him out of office? You can't, from what I've read. Bill, you're absolutely right. That's the danger. Bill in Northeast Philly, you're absolutely right. If Philip Berg and the others who filed lawsuits against the legitimacy of Barack Obama's birth in the United States, there is no way you can get him out of office if he gets elected. There may have to be a new directive, a new amendment to the Constitution. There may have to be a new power given to Congress. But as we stand now, you're absolutely right. There is no way, Bill. And I think Philip Berg explained that rather adequately. And if you read the Constitution of the United States, it talks about the succession that happened after Kennedy was shot. Kennedy got killed, the right of succession. But it doesn't say anything about what happens if someone gets elected to be found out afterward that he really wasn't a citizen of the United States. I fault the Democrat National Committee and Howard Dean personally for not demanding a complete and thorough vetting of Barack Obama. Forget the Reverend Wright. Forget about Bill Ayers. And I guarantee you that there will be a move within the next 4 years by Arnold Schwarzenegger and his supporters that we will change the qualifications for being a president of the United States. That part of the Constitution of the United States, I guarantee you, may be amended. John in Pemberton asks Irv, if Obama is elected, then found not to be a citizen, would the Congress move to impeach him or hide the facts to avoid total chaos? Also, could this go to the Supreme Court to change the citizenship requirement? Well, John, I think I answered the one question, but here's the question that you talk about Congress moving to impeach him. The impeachment of a president is spelled out in the Constitution. Unless it can be proven that Obama actually, in writing or in verbal transfer of the language, said he was born here, you can't impeach him. There's no grounds to. There is no grounds to impeach him. Now, it can't go to the Supreme Court because it's not a valid case. There's nothing in the Constitution that makes it illegal or legal. Now, what could happen? What could happen because of states' rights? Certain states could file a suit if it can be proven that he's not a citizen of the United States. They could file a suit with a court and maybe move to the Supreme Court and have him removed from office. I doubt that because there's nothing in the Constitution that says it's illegal. There's no damage clause. There's no grounds for impeachment. So it's and it's one of the reasons, and I'm not saying it's true, false, or indifferent, but it is one of the basic reasons that Berg is so concerned, and others like Philip Berg, attorney, on getting this thing resolved. From getting this thing resolved. Because it could create chaos. It could create chaos in our country. You're going to excuse me? Let me give you the telephone number. 215-253-8877. 215-253-8877.
Your call.
Stay tuned, America. It's a strictly informal program, folks. We have an email, and once again, you can contact me by email during the program, or you can call at 215-253-8877.
We have a phone call coming in.
We have a phone call coming in.
Hold on, caller.
All right.
Oh, sure, no problem.
Okay, you're on the air. Go ahead, sir.
Oh, hi. I'm sorry.
Or ma'am, excuse me.
Here?
Lower.
Okay, I'm getting a little bit of feedback because I have you on TV or on the computer and also on the phone at the same time.
You gotta lower the computer.
Lower your computer, please.
Okay, I've done that. I apologize for that.
I
Hi,
don't.
Irv.
Hi, it sounds good.
Hi, this is Nikki from Westchester again. I was having a little bit of trouble with my streaming feed, so I thought I just would call because it's kind of exciting to talk to you in person. I never got a chance to do that while you were on WBB, but I'm happy that you're here.
Well, I'm glad you called.
I guess I was calling because earlier in the conversation you were talking a little bit about how you were talking about the right-wing media, and I agree with the way you were characterizing their attacks and sort of incessant need to demonize the opponent, and there really isn't a lot of substance there. But one thing I've noticed about John McCain is that he really hasn't gotten the same kind of support that Bush and some of the predecessors have from these kind of ultra right-wing conservatives, and I feel like part of the reason he might not win the election is because he hasn't necessarily kowtowed or courted that vote. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, because that is something that I personally have respected in McCain.
Well, if you remember, Nikki, when McCain was running in the primary, the bad mouthing of McCain by Rush Limbaugh, by Michael Medved, by Glenn Beck, the bad mouthing of him as a primary candidate, and also the abuse that John McCain took from President Bush. I mean, they said he was crazy, that he had been a prisoner too long. If the Democrats wanted to beat John McCain right now, all they would have to do is play the old tapes of what these right-wing conservative talk show hosts said about John McCain when he was running in the primary. And that's why the hurt of John McCain from what they said during the primary is still with him, and it's why he's not going to cater to them. There wasn't a right-wing conservative talk show host that was in favor of John McCain during the primary. And he remembers that. And I think he made up his mind that he will stick to his guns. If they didn't like him then, he's not going to let them like him now.
Well, I would say that means a lot to some of his constituency. I mean, as a voter making up my mind on who to decide, I'm pretty skeptical of Obama because he feels like he's another one of these machine politicians. And I feel like, although McCain is an imperfect candidate, I also feel like I have a lot of respect that he hasn't taken the easy route in crafting his campaign, and I think he's paid the price for it. But I think that's something that I personally admire.
Well, see, I think, Nikki, John McCain's problem was if John McCain would have run his own campaign as John McCain, who was a likable guy, who has a military record, who has a constituency, he would have been in the lead in the polls over Barack Obama. John McCain...
You think he would have had any money?
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's where the money came in. That if he didn't kowtow to the Republican National Committee, to that 25% core base of his, of the fundamentalist conservatives, with this pro-life stand, he wouldn't have got the money to even launch the campaign that he does. But the John McCain that you've seen in the last week and the last couple of days is the John McCain that could have beaten without reservation Barack Obama. They finally, I think, let John McCain say, John, you go campaign your own way, your own style. Now, if you notice, in the beginning, after Sarah Palin was announced to be the vice presidential candidate, she got all the television time, and John would stand there, right? All of a sudden now she's in the background, and John McCain's ratings are going up and up and up and up, because I think they turned this man loose and said, John, it's up to you to win. And I think he's got a strong... I wouldn't bet on this election one way or the other.
Say that again, I'm sorry. I totally lost my connection.
I said I wouldn't bet on this election one way or the other. I do not count John McCain out. I'm not somebody sitting here that, it's all over, that Obama's going to win. I wouldn't bet on this election if I was a gambling man. No way.
Well, I think if he pulls through, it's gonna be because he's because of who he is and because of his characteristics. So I appreciate your time and thanks for putting me on the air. This was fun. I really enjoyed having you back.
Nikki, thank you so much. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, I'm Irv Homer. We're brought to you by broadcasting from irvhomer.com. Once again, our telephone number 215-253-8877. 215-253-8877, or our chat room is available, and also the email is available. What is this?
What?
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, that's why I figured
Yeah.
it.
Bob from Memphis asked a question. Irv, why were John McCain military records sealed? Well, I really don't know why his military records are sealed. I can only assume, and this is an assumption on my part, Bob from Memphis, that under this new Secrecy Act that we have all over the place, there may be something in his record that may be privileged information. If you remember, who was it, Eagleton? What was Eagleton's first name? I forget. Ran with Hubert Humphrey. When it was known to the public that Eagleton had gone to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it destroyed his opportunity to be Vice President of the United States. Now, I don't know for sure. I can only assume. But I can be willing to bet the best cigar in the store that after 6 years of being incarcerated at the Hanoi Hilton in Vietnam, that when John McCain came out of there, as other brave guys did, after being incarcerated as a prisoner of war, I can assure you that John McCain received some type of psychological counseling and had probably been to a psychiatrist. And why do I say that? Because I did. So people say, Irv, you're nuts. And I said, yes, but I got papers to prove it. Which many people who are nuts don't have papers to prove it. I wasn't a prisoner of war, but I came back pretty well shook up. And was mad, and mean, and nasty, and rude, and crude. You name it. Every word fit me when I got out of the military. I can assume that John McCain probably had some type of mental rehabilitation after coming out of prisoner of war camp. If that were to be known, I'm not saying that the Democrat Party would have jumped on it, but knowing the viciousness of some parts of the left wing and parts of the right wing in America, that somebody would make an issue out of it. So I think there's some things in John McCain's military records, A, that are private, and B, may reveal that John McCain did have some type of psychological counseling, or may even still be having psychological counseling. I don't know. I'm not saying, and I was rude when I said I'm nuts and I got papers to prove it. Well, I made a statement many, many times in my broadcast career. Anyone who has ever been in combat of any kind is a mental case. It may be dormant, may not be obvious, but if you've been in combat, folks, you're a mental case. Male or female now, which is even worse. Fact of the matter is, anyone who kills anybody or is threatened to be killed has a higher ratio of suicide. In the New York Times today, and also I think in the Philadelphia Inquirer, reported that among police officers today, including a chief of police, the rate of suicide among police officers is growing. These are not police officers guilty of embezzlement or guilty of abuse or being brought up on charges or gambling or embezzlement, nothing like that. But a lot of police officers are now committing suicide, and they're looking into it. I'm Irv Homer, and we're broadcasting from irvhomer.com. It is the day before the election, and my question is, should you go out to vote? By all means, go out to vote. Vote your conscience, ladies and gentlemen. Vote for what you want. I think 3 elections ago, the first time Bill Clinton ran for office, there was a big question as to ticket splitting in America. And we did a lot of ticket splitting. And people today I don't think that the political parties today can count on their registration as a means of who's going to vote who and how they're going to vote. I do know one thing that I am absolutely thrilled about. In fact, the 8th District in Bucks County, between Tom Mannion and Patrick Murphy for Congress, is one of the most heated races in the country for a district office for a congressman. Both men have good qualifications. Patrick Murphy had served in Iraq, the only member of Congress who ever served in Iraq. Tom Mannion lost his son in Iraq, and I think he's a retired colonel of the United States Marine Corps. I don't know. I know who I'm going to vote for, but as I said, it's no one's business. I just know I hope the Republicans get their ass whipped in Bucks County. Not because they're bad. I just got a vendetta against them. There's a couple of Republicans in this county I just want their behinds whipped so bad that they leak for the next 20 years. I hope they get diarrhea. Nothing serious. An ingrown toenail. No tragedy. Not cancer. Nothing like that. Maybe a runny nose or something. Maybe an uncontrolled desire to break wind all the time. Something that really... But I got it in for some of these Republicans in Bucks County. Not all of them. There's a couple of them. But the Democrats may take Bucks County. In fact, I'm pretty sure of it. So the local elections, the local offices, ladies and gentlemen, are extremely important. And I have to admit, I'm going to vote because I'm pissed off. And the Democrat Party in Bucks County should appreciate me for the years that I was on WBCB. I was the only voice of reason that allowed the Democrats to receive any credibility whatsoever. Sorry, Pat. You couldn't control me, baby. You could fire me, but you couldn't control me. I'm still a voice. I know you're still a rich man. And you're a nice guy, basically. Wouldn't mind having a beer with you. I just don't like the company you keep. I'm Irv Homer. One of the important things that is not brought up, but we will get into it probably after the election, and that is at the end of this year in December, the next president is going to have to confront the Iraqi government that wants us out of Iraq. John Murtha said it. Barack Obama said it. But weren't we supposed to get out of Iraq? Wasn't it a slam dunk, mission accomplished? The surge was going to do it. How long, ladies and gentlemen, are you boobus Americans going to be lied to by these nincompoops that we put in office, the George W. Bushes, and have the drumbeat of the damn draft dodgers on radio and television, who never put the uniform of this country on their ass? I would like to see Limbaugh's ass in a tank, Sean Hannity's ass in an airplane, Michael Medved's behind an armor gun, Mike Gallagher's ass in a Humvee with no armor plate on it. What the hell's wrong with you big heroes? You big tough guys who support our troops as long as your ass is in America and their ass is being shot at. We've got to get rid of the fake phony in the communication industry on our airwaves that are on our television sets, and put some people on there who have brains, honesty, integrity, and not these fake phony frauds that are Pied Pipers of the ignorant. I'm not done with you guys yet. This program will grow. I'll be an itch on your behind that you won't be able to scratch. Because you know what I'm saying is true. I'm Irv Homer, and it's been a good night. Don't forget, tomorrow is the day to vote. If you don't know who to vote for, write your own name in. Don't write Mickey Mouse. Write your own. Be a brave enough American to write your own name in. If you put Mickey Mouse, if you put Donald Duck, you're nothing but a damn coward. If you're a brave American and you don't like any of the candidates, you'll write your own name in. Don't write my name in. You had your chance in 72, and you got Nixon and Agnew. Don't write my name in. I'm Irv Homer. Till the next time.